M4A1 returns silently, the complete equipment is missing, the time has come. Hello everyone. First of all, let's draw a conclusion. This gun is not very powerful when playing a single copy, and is even a bit awkward. The strength is passable, but many copies are still difficult to beat, and the damage is not explosive enough. It is definitely incomparable to T00 Great White Shark Corrosion. But the strength itself is low, and the submission I tested was at the touch of the sky, right? In the snow country. If you team up with the ice gun, add the winter spirit and the new version of the Cradle, you can expect that the strength will definitely be low, but now it is not a complete system at all. The mechanism of this gun has been released in a previous video, so I won't mention it in detail in this video. Let's go directly to introduce the equipment to you. The gun Silent Return is a pure elemental gun. Its damage mainly depends on the ice crystals generated after hitting the Frost Vortex and the ice missiles triggered after the ice crystals break. Therefore, our equipment can be directly purchased from 4B Household or Blackstone. Now, although the bonus of Blackstone is higher than that of House B, its harsh conditions are also more difficult. Right? In order for it to reach the corresponding temperature in the dungeon, it needs to turn on an air conditioner, or use a thermostat to bring it to a certain corresponding temperature. And it may not be full. In addition, if we are old players in House B, the star rating of House B may already be relatively high, so it is not necessary to exchange for Blackstone. Then we directly match another piece of equipment with our gloves, Shu Camouflage Gloves M4A1. A specialized piece of equipment for Silent Return. For another thing, we can directly use a Fortress to increase our string damage or a Lone Wolf to increase our magazine capacity. Why wear a Lone Wolf to increase magazine capacity? Because the damage method of this gun is quite special when we hit the target in the Frost Vortex. Ice crystals will be generated and cooled for 1.5 seconds. After the ice crystal is generated, it is best to hit it with a bullet in advance to break it, so that the damage can reach 300%. If you say it will break automatically, it will only be 100%. Therefore, you must detonate it manually. If you detonate it manually, you will need your own bullets to shoot it. In this case, the way we play is fine, just shake the screen, brothers. If you mind this very much about this gun, you will definitely not be able to play with it. That is to say, we have to dot the ice crystals next to us at every turn. If your magazine capacity is not enough, it may be that the ice crystals are produced but you do not have enough bullets. This situation is quite embarrassing. See, it's this way of fighting. Brothers. So the CD of 1.5 seconds when the extra bullet jams can be matched with your magazine to match your rate of fire, and then during the bullet firing process. It can also match your personal firearm usage habits, right? Whether the bullet has stopped shooting, etc., etc. It depends on how many ice crystals you can generate in the magazine and how many times you can explode it. If so, you really need to get through those bullets. So it's a good idea to bring one with you. It's easy if you bring a Fortress, right? The 10% triggering probability of our Frost Vortex is rather embarrassing. It may be that the mobs die only after clearing one mob and one magazine. And the Frost Vortex has not yet emerged. Then our last Fortress gave us a mention of gun damage, and then even if the Frost Vortex didn't come out, we could use this gun damage to kill it. Gun damage can also give us a hint of this DPS, right? If it really doesn't work, you can also use a Pank to increase the speed of reloading. Of course, the increase in speed of reloading is not obvious. The Lone Wolf has increased its magazine capacity. If you are a dormitory blueprint, it has increased from 47 rounds to 51 rounds, while for the heavy blueprint, it has increased from 76 rounds to 87 rounds. Each person's habits, each person's hand feel, each person's way of controlling bullets, and each person's drawings are different. So everyone comes up with this based on their own actual combat preferences. So we just talked about drawings, right? Heavy fire rate and even the first 3 blueprints can be used. And if you ask me to recommend it, I would recommend the heavy one. Because this is what we just said, that is, the current magazine capacity is still a little bit better, and the rate of fire is not very good if it is too fast. Then there's nothing much to say about the rate of fire, right? Let this reloading module be more full, because you can shoot out bullets faster with 1 bullet and 1 magazine. Just saying this, it is not recommended to send the blueprint first. After all, it reduces all damage by 12%. Brothers, please note that the damage really reduces all damage by 12%. However, the missiles of our elite soldiers have also been reduced. To be honest, lowering our upper limit is not recommended. The module choice is a pure elemental gun, which is no different from our elemental gun that explodes in the outer space. The only difference is our weapon and mask module, right? Everyone chooses their own genre. First of all, it is okay for our weapon module to directly select multiple traps. The maximum number of Frost Vortexes will be increased by 1, and the damage of the Frost Vortex will be increased by 10%. Note that this Frost Vortex deals 10% more damage. Our soldiers can take damage from our Frost Vortex. The introduction to the characteristics of this weapon that we can see causes 100% control strength of frost containing elemental abnormal damage and enjoys the frost damage bonus. Did everyone see it? So we need all the frost damage bonuses, including those in this module entry, as well as the entry effect in our exclusive suffix below. Do you see the Frost Vortex damage bonus? This is necessary, so our weapons and mask modules try to choose this Frost Vortex as the suffix. For entries with exclusive suffixes, we try to choose Frost Vortex damage. The Frost Vortex trigger probability also has frost damage, so these 3 entries are the best. If not, we can look at other ones. For the mask module, we directly consider such a Night King. The more enemies in the Frost Vortex, the higher the final damage of the Frost Vortex, up to 60%. By the same amount, it can increase the damage of our Frost Vortex, and even when fighting a single boss, our Ice Elf will be among more enemies, because this Ice Elf is also a unit. It can determine units. The more units there are in the Frost Vortex, the higher the damage it will do, so it's okay to just use the Night King's strength. We come to the boss module. The boss module has 2 options: create something out of nothing or our anomaly expert. So if you create something out of nothing, this module may be possible for everyone. Maybe you have used it a lot with anomaly experts. This is the first time I heard about this module. Let's take a look at its attributes. When the cabin is empty, the reloading speed is increased by 10%, and the elemental damage is increased by 20%, lasting for 5 seconds, and will be reset the next time you reload. So it is very easy to fill up in 5 seconds. Even our heavy-duty rabbit can get a huge bonus. The head module actually also has a choice of elemental manipulation, which increases elemental damage by 10% and the health value is higher than 90%. This is an additional 10%. There are no conditions. As long as you keep your blood volume to an excellent level, this module can also be used. But it doesn't have the abnormality expert's rate of fire, and it doesn't have the reload speed bonus provided by Wu Zun. This is probably its shortcoming. As for the anomaly experts, we are old friends here. The reduced range does not matter to our elemental guns. Then the rate of fire bonus adds an abnormal damage of 20%. But this rate of fire bonus is more critical. If you have the rapid fire blueprint, I strongly do not recommend you to bring an anomaly expert. You have also seen the data just now. Your ice crystal CD is 1.5 seconds. The faster you shoot bullets, there is not much benefit, because you don't rely on damage to survive, right? You are not about to explode. If you are going to explode, you can use a higher rate of fire to trigger the burning probability and give it a burning effect. The main damage depends on this ice crystal, and there is an upper limit for ice crystals, 1 every 1.5 seconds. No matter how fast your rate of fire is, it will be of no use to you. On the contrary, there is no benefit in shooting the bullets faster. Abnormal expert, if you have a rapid fire blueprint, I strongly recommend you not to bring it. It won't even take 4 seconds for your magazine to be fired. Therefore, Brother Wazun can definitely eat, and he must bring this with him. And if you are a heavy blueprint, then you can consider anomaly experts to increase the rate of fire by 10%, or there is no problem if you continue to use Wazun Brothers. And everyone has no problem at all. Because the Silent Glands gun is quite special, its output method is a test of everyone's skills. Because he decided to order ice crystals. Really, everyone is different, and everyone has different ways of ordering ice crystals. It's possible that someone stopped the bullet, then clicked it, then pulled it back and continued to click. Some people even say that you can just hold down the home button and pull it over without letting go. That's it. You can also drag it over to hit ice crystals. Not quite stopping at all. Therefore, everyone's way of outputting damage is different. You have to try it out for yourself. Okay, let's talk about this mod suffix. Except for the exclusive suffixes for weapons and masks, all other suffixes require abilities. Naturally, the higher the elemental damage and abnormal damage and superpowers, the better. As for the other 2 entries, we are looking for some effective entries, such as entries that are useful for ordinary enemies, elite enemies, and high-level enemies. As well as attributes such as ammunition reload speed bonus, ammunition bonus capacity, etc., right? We don't think much about things like damage gradients. There is nothing much to say about the clothing module. Just look at the entry. The higher the element plus abnormality, the better. Then look at the small entry. Then if you have a heavy blueprint, if you need it, you can bring a quick anti-factory ability to achieve a hybrid increase to offset this rebound speed problem. But to be honest, the M4 gun's heavy-duty drawing is still very stable in reloading. Brothers, I have a gun with this heavy-duty drawing now. Let me show you the reloading speed. In fact, it is not as slow as you think. This is the reloading speed of the heavy blueprint. Let me show you the reloading speed of the light blueprint. Did everyone see it? In fact, the difference is not that huge, so it is not as slow as a machine gun to reload and explode. So when it comes to this quick counterfactory, it depends on the individual, and the entry also chooses the ability. Then there are 2 modules to choose from on the pants side. One is our precision charging, and the other is our abnormal increase. Then I would also recommend the abnormal increase here. Each time you reload when empty, the abnormal damage will be increased by 10%, which lasts for 12 seconds. So within 12 seconds, we can easily eat 2 layers of our rapid fire drawings very easily. And even eat some on the 3rd layer. For our heavy duty drawing, although the 2nd level may not be full, let's take a look at the effect of this precise charging. Precision charging is the weak point of the previous magazine, the hit rate is not 10%, and the elemental damage is increased by 4%. If we want to get a full 24 of this elemental damage, we need to increase the capacity by 60% and then hit the weak point. For Jingbao's return journey, this gun is more troublesome. Why? Because we need to hit the ice crystals, right? I don't have bullets to hit the ice crystals. So this is also the difference. If your weak boss is easy to defeat, and this boss's weak point is particularly easy to defeat, then there is actually no big problem if you bring precision charge. If it's not so easy to fight, I would recommend conquering this anomaly. Okay, my old friend here is playing steadily, and we have our cover to prepare for the battle. There is nothing special to talk about. It is better to look at our test strips and just find one with this ability. Elements plus abnormalities. For our Jingmo return gun, the gun gives us a lot of elemental damage. You can see that after stacking the layers of protection, and then adding the damage of 3 ice crystals from the demon purifying journey, we will get additional frost elemental damage. What have our attributes achieved? Abnormal damage 104, elemental damage 150. If there is such a gap, what else will we do if the abnormal damage is caused? I will also drink a night and talk to Ying again. If you drink Night Face Shadow regularly, your abnormal damage will be higher than it is now. So if there is a gap between the 2 attributes, you have to coordinate it according to your own situation. For example, this number is equipped with elemental enhancement. If your abnormality enhancement is good, you can also bring abnormality enhancement so that the 2 values are not different. It's okay if it's too outrageous, everyone. Okay, after we finish the previous things, we come to the weapon accessories. It is actually very simple. A hammerhead compensator is directly used on the muzzle, and then the sight is directly stabilized to ensure that our recoil is lower. For tactics, we choose an elite vertical grip to double the accuracy and stability. The magazine must be on this side. Choose a rifle that controls the magazine. As for ammunition, gold bullets are actually the simplest, because there are also scorching bullets like Frost Vortex. They only need to use new sources to make them, unlike other guns that require electronic components, gold mines, etc. Can't afford it, and for us in the later stage of the new source system, right? This thing can't be used up at all. As for the cradle, as for our old-fashioned cradle, right, automatic weapons must be strengthened. Then the master tactician masters the abnormality. Ji Pao needs to lead it, and then it is the tactical matching plus our abnormality enhancement. If there are no void monsters in the book you are brushing, we don't need to bring void, and then we can bring a continuous suppression and it will be okay. If you replace the void, we can bring some skyline operations or advantage barriers. If it is a new version of the cradle, that is to say the current cradle in Snow Country, then you must have this rifle in front of you. After bringing together the tactical combination, abnormality enhancement, abnormality control, continuous suppression and our frost sense, there are only 2 positions left. Generally speaking, the 2 positions are for our skyline operations. But some friends may not like jumping and the number of jumping and walking is relatively small. Then you can bring a special defense, and then add a lone walker and still have to fight. That means you are the home team or just a solo player, right? It depends on the individual.